Well, here we go on a Tuesday. Welcome in. Happy Tuesday to you. It's another edition of the Joe Raineri Show here on WTF Sports TV. Want to thank you very much for hanging out with us here after you might have probably were up a little bit late last night watching another edition of Fitz Magic trying to take center stage there. Monday Night Football. We'll talk about that. And, of course, the stiff arm heard around the world. But I do want to welcome you in. I want to thank you for hanging out with us. Do want to invite you to hang out with the lunatics that are on social media. We broadcast you live, Twitter, Periscope, Facebook Live, YouTube Live, all at the same time. Technology is a wonderful thing when it works, and I'm glad you guys are here because coming up here, bottom of the hour, we are going to have a chance to talk to our good friends from NJ.com. Daryl Slater, he covers the New York Jets, and of course the Jets coming off that loss last week against the Browns on a Thursday night. Now don't have any reprieve. They got to take on the Jacksonville Jaguars, and the rumor is, and the headline is that joining the New York Jets and may possibly be joining the New York Jets is Le'Veon Bell, who we know is on the trading block and at this point is probably not going back to Pittsburgh. And there's been plenty of talk about the Jets being very active in trying to land him. So we're going to talk to a man who knows, follows the team, covers the team for NJ.com. Daryl Slater, that is coming up here in just about 15 minutes or so. Also, we're going to give you the latest information from Las Vegas when it comes to line movements, who's doing what, what's going on. We've got college football games to go. We got all sorts of big stuff going on here. But first, let's welcome in Kenny. Kenny's joining us here on YouTube Live. Also want to welcome in Danny. Danny, what's going on to you, you crazy bastard? And Antoine is also joining us. You guys, as always, it's a pleasure to hang out with you here today. Also, we've got a studio line. If you haven't figured that out, let's get you that caught up. 855-WTF-2255. That is how you reach us here on the show. Tell me what you guys thought of Fitzmagic last night. There was... that game was, at the very least, it was entertaining. So we can at least say that Fitzpatrick, of all the things that he brings to the table, entertainment is definitely one of them. There were so many of us, especially New York Jet fans, Buffalo Bills fans, those that have had to endure Ryan Fitzpatrick over the years. We always know the other shoe is going to drop. When nobody puts pressure on Ryan Fitzpatrick, he's going back there. He'll pick you apart. He can toss the ball around the yard. Very fearless, fun guy, great, the ultimate backup in the NFL. But we also know that if you ask him to continue that stretch of Fitzmagic beyond 2 games or even 3 games, you are asking a lot. At some particular point, the shoe was going to drop, and it dropped last night, as a matter of fact, against the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Steelers they were bringing everybody against Ryan Fitzpatrick. They were blitzing the house, looking to kind of dispel whatever that magic he's been whipping up there in Tampa Bay. And it worked for much of the first half. He had interception after interception, although the first 2 interceptions weren't his fault. Let's face it, they were tipped. They were balls that should have been caught, but unfortunately they were turnovers. And then the pick 6 is all on, let's face it, that's all on Ryan Fitzpatrick. Nobody going to make any excuses for him there. The pick 6 was on him. He simply threw it to the Steelers linebacker. But the second half was a whole different game, wasn't it? Down 30-10 at halftime, and then you could feel it, man. You could sprinkle in that Fitz magic. You knew it was coming. All of a sudden, he's throwing the ball all over the yard, and he's getting crushed. Fitzpatrick was getting hammered last night in the pocket, and you know what? Sat there, stood there, took the hits, delivered the ball, and gave the Tampa Bay Bucks an actual opportunity to win that game, a game in which many people were going, oh, hell no, the game is over, I'm going to go and do other things. I watched a whole bunch of people on Twitter just talking about how, all right, this game is over. Once they scored 30 points in the first half, that was it. A lot of people were rooting for the under in the second half because they scored that many points in the first half. The over-under was, depending on what book you were at, and we told you here on the show yesterday, we were taking the Steelers -1, and we were talking the over at 54.5. So depending on when you got in, it was anywhere from 54 to 55.5. And those who took the under and didn't listen to us, well, congratulations. You were sweating it out in the second half, and you ended up losing because the over hit And the Pittsburgh Steelers ended up winning that game, but not before there was more Fitzmagic happening in Tampa at home. And now it begs the question, what do you do with Jameis Winston? Jameis Winston is now back from suspension. Apparently, he's been taking Lyft instead of Uber, which is probably a good thing. But he is back, and he's back with the team. He's back. So what do you do with Ryan Fitzpatrick? Do you continue to play him? Do you continue to sit Jameis Winston and let's see what happens here? Or do you just roll with what you've got? I mean, the Tampa Bay Bucks are 2-1 right now, and I'm fairly certain most people didn't have Tampa Bay winning at least 6 games this year. So already you're looking at 2 more wins than many people thought they'd ever have credit for. And they gave themselves a chance after shooting themselves in the foot a number of times last night. They gave themselves a chance to win that game, and it was because Fitzpatrick didn't quit and lit up that atrocious defense in Pittsburgh. And I'm sorry, guys. Pittsburgh, your defense is it's got flies. It smells like such shit. It's got flies on it. That is how bad the Steelers' defense is, where you got to swat things. The flies were on the field all over the place because that was giant horse shit what was going on there. It's beyond me how Mike Tomlin continues to have a job in the NFL. There was a moment there towards the end of the game, and I don't know if you guys saw this or not. There was a moment there where they had thrown a penalty flag, not for roughing the passer, but you had a wide receiver that was getting into the grill of a referee. It just looked, there was stupid penalty after stupid penalty. There was fighting going on the sidelines. Mike Tomlin and the Pittsburgh Steelers were this close from absolutely losing last night. And I think on many levels, it's also very evident that the Pittsburgh Steelers, they have some leadership issues going on there. It stems from the lack of defense, and I think it also stems from the inconsistent offensive play that they are getting. I mean, let's not forget, last week they scored a whole bunch of points against the Kansas City Chiefs in the second half, and after a 30-point barrage in the first half against the Tampa Bay Bucks, I'm sure Steelers, the people on the sidelines for the Pittsburgh Steelers were going, okay, we can put up another, 15, 20 points here, and we can get it all out of our system. And the reality is you didn't score squat in the second half, which didn't help those who had AB in their lineups for fantasy football, or Ben Roethlisberger, or John Connor for that matter, because they scored absolutely nothing in the second half, which is sad. And what they did have is an absolute meltdown during that game, and that was because that's what happens when Fitzmagic, he sprinkles that little dust he's got going on there. Man, oh man, good things can happen, but good things are not happening with the Pittsburgh Steelers. I can tell you that right now. I know that Le'Veon Bell had to be laughing his ass off once again. We go back to that situation now as well. What do you do with Le'Veon Bell? The Pittsburgh Steelers, the Rooney family, very old school. They're not interested in being held hostage, so to speak, by a player who is losing $850,000 a week that they offered $14 million to in a franchise tag. The Steelers are very, very stubborn and old school. At this point, I don't think the Steelers in any way, shape, or form can bring back Le'Veon Bell. I think it's past the point of any return there. The animosity in that locker room, the resentment going on in that locker room. If the Steelers would have lost last night, there would have been a mutiny going on there. And it keeps going back to Mike Tomlin. Mike Tomlin has never been a guy that you would ever accuse of somebody that's having he's not Bill Belichick from the standpoint where the system is in place and either you're part of it or you're out of there. Too many divas, too many players on that team have had a say over the years, and the lack of discipline has cost them more games and more chances at a Super Bowl than, you can shake a stick at. And that's just the reality when it comes to Mike Tomlin and the Pittsburgh Steelers. But congratulations, Fitzmagic threw for 400 yards. I believe that is the first the first quarterback to, I guess, to fill in or come in, reserve quarterback to go back-to-back-to-back 400-yard games. Does he have another one in him? Will the Tampa Bay Bucks even allow him to go for a record fourth game throwing over 400 yards? Would you play Ryan Fitzpatrick, or would you play Jameis Winston? Do you almost have to go back to Jameis Winston, given the amount of money that you are paying him? And he is supposed to be, for good or bad, he's supposed to be the face of that franchise. So what would you guys do? That is our question of the day, posing it for you here at WTF Sports TV, Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. And, of course, the phone number to reach us here, 855-WTF-2255. That's 855-983-2255. That is how you reach us. I was thoroughly entertained last night. What looked like it was going to be an awful game. It was shaping up to be another one of these Thursday night, Monday night blowouts. Turned out to be very entertaining, and watching that Steelers team just literally lose their minds in the second half because Fitzpatrick was beating them every way they could. Mike Evans, Deshaun Jackson. It's a fun team to watch. There are more players on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, I think, than we gave them credit for. I thought the defense did a great job of adjusting at halftime and shutting down the Steelers in the second half, keeping the game manageable and giving Fitzpatrick a chance to win the game. I was impressed with what I witnessed with the Tampa Bay Bucks. Haven't had a chance to watch them an awful lot yet this year, but watching them in that game last night, you take on the complexion of who your leader is. And I think the leader, and as many times as he got hit, Ryan Fitzpatrick is proving to be a leader on that team. Although, let's not confuse it, he's a backup quarterback. He's a professional backup quarterback in the NFL. And we've already seen this work before, where he lulls you into giving him big contract deals and starting, and then ultimately, when it matters most in November and December, he goes MIA. So I don't know. They said last night he's expecting his seventh kid, I believe. His wife is pregnant. She's due any day with their seventh kid. So I don't know what they taught over at Harvard there, but apparently watching TV was not any of it. But congratulations to Fitzpatrick. Tampa Bay Buck fans, Buck Nation, man. I know you guys are jumping up and down. I saw you last night, talked to you guys last night on social media. You're jumping up and down. You are excited. And there wasn't an awful lot of people in the second half calling for Jameis Winston. There were a boatload of you in the first half going, there's the Fitzpatrick we know and love. You were calling for Jameis, Jameis on the sideline, smiling it up. I'm not sure Jameis is smiling anymore, and I'm certainly not sure that he's smiling here on a Tuesday. We'll wait to hear exactly who is going to be the starting quarterback. Some people say you've got to start Jameis because the sooner you get him back in, the faster he'll get acclimated to the offense and get in rhythm. If you make the decision to start Fitzpatrick again with Jameis Winston healthy and ready to go, then what you're doing is you're putting off the inevitable. You are saying that Fitzpatrick is our guy from here on out. And I know it's only 3 weeks, 3 games into the season, but your message is Fitzpatrick is our guy because it's going to take him, Jameis Winston that is, it's going to take him some time to get back into the rhythm of an NFL game. And it's going to take him a little time to build that rapport with those receivers and with the offensive linemen. And the longer you prolong that or push it off down the road, the message is going to be sent that, yeah, this is now Ryan Fitzpatrick's team and not Jameis Winston. So keep that in mind there. Want to say hello to Jeremy. Jeremy joining us here on YouTube Live. Also, John's joining us via Twitter and Facebook Live. Welcome, guys. Good afternoon. Thanks for stopping by and making us a part of your day. So coming up, we do have a very interesting interview. I cannot wait to talk to this guy, Darryl Slater from NewJersey.com, NJ.com. He is the Jets reporter for NJ.com, and nobody covers the Jets like NJ.com. Any information, Jet fans, you're looking to get, Get it from Daryl Slater, at Daryl Slater on Twitter, NJ.com. They've got great pieces on the Jets. Follow them. They cover the Yankees, the Jets, the Mets, the Giants. They cover them all there, but some really great stuff from him. Do the Jets have a legitimate chance at getting Le'Veon Bell? The story was written yesterday that Le'Veon Bell and the New York Jets they're on the phone. And Mike McCagnon, they're trying to make something happen. But does it make any sense to get Le'Veon Bell right now? So we're going to talk to him coming up. Daryl Slater, that is, Jets reporter for NJ.com. We'll see what he's got to say. And also, what's going on with the Jets offense? I mean, Sam Darnold, at some point, you got to take the training wheels off and allow him to throw more than just 5-yard screens. So we'll ask him about that. Your calls, 855-WTF-2255 is how you reach us. But before we get to him, I do want to thank our sponsors. Yes, as soon as I can find them. There they are. Let's send a shout out to Miami Acura if we could. Want to thank them very much for making us a part of the family. And they'd like you to test drive the all-new 2019 RDX. That's right. It is like driving in your living room, I'm being told. If you are car shopping, if you are in the market for a car, then you have to make sure that you head over to Miami Acura and take a test drive, the all-new 2019, completely redesigned RDX. They've got to make rooms. They're trying to get the lot filled. Get out. They want all the 2018s out. They got 2019s ready to go. They're willing to make deals. Go take it for a test drive. For those of you in the 305, it's simple. South Dixie Highway, Palmetto Bay. You know where it is. Just head out towards Kendall. And for the 954-561 or outside of that area, simply call them at 855-564-4669. That's 855-564-4669. Go take it for a test drive. Make sure you tell them that Joe told you to stop by. All right, and coming up, we're going to talk to NJ.com. That's right. His name is Daryl Slater. Will Le'Veon Bell head to the Jets? We'll ask him. That's coming up next.
Dish TV is better than cable TV. Why? Because you can save 45% on packages compared to your high-priced cable bill. Wow. Take those giant scissors out and cut the cable and save with Dish TV. Plus, you get a free DVR upgrade to record your favorite shows and free installation. And with Dish Anywhere, you can watch TV for free on your mobile device. Act fast. You can save hundreds of dollars. Does your cable company do that for you? I don't think so. Get all the best TV programming at your fingertips at a fraction of the price of cable TV. So say adios, arrivederci, goodbye to the high cable bill and save up to 45% on Dish TV packages today. These are limited time offers and can change at any time. Call fast. 800-293-0328. 800-293-0328. 800-293-0328. That's 800-293-0328.
Do you use the expensive blue or yellow pills to charge your sex life? Are you thinking about it? What if we can promise you the same results for less than $3 a pill? If you're paying $20 a pill for the other pills, you're getting taken to the cleaners. Our pills deliver the exact same results for less than $3. You'll save more than $16 a pill for the same results. And right now, radio callers will get 44 blue or yellow pills for $120 with free discreet shipping. You can save more than $700 off pharmacy prices. Charge your sex life now and save a ton of money. Call now and get your 44 pills and save over $700 and qualify for free shipping. Stop overpaying and call right now.
800-764-9168. 800-764-9168. 800-764-9168. That's 800-764-9168.
Greece is cheap.
But the airfare costs a fortune.
Paris?
Not much closer, and again, airfare...
What about Puerto Vallarta?
Let's face it, flying anywhere is just too expensive.
Wait, what's this? low-cost airlines.
With one call to low-cost airlines, you'll drastically slash your travel costs. We're talking insanely low airline prices to any of your favorite destinations. Where would you like to go? London, Rome, Costa Rica, Australia?
Wow, that's cheap.
So why wait? Call now to learn how crazy cheap it is to fly anywhere in the U.S. or international. Our prices are so low, we can't publish them. The only way to get them is to call to instantly hear the most amazing best deals on airline travel. It's that easy. So call now and start packing.
800-761-1427. 800-761-1427. 800-761-1427. That's 800-761-1427.
Get ready to talk sports. It's the Say It With Me podcast. Now, here's your host, Joe Raineri.
So, guys, real excited to have on the phone. Finally, I get to talk to somebody who covers the Jets instead of having to deal with all the Dolphin contingency here in Miami. But I do get a New York Jets representative who covers them for NJ.com. Daryl Slater joins us. You can check him out on Twitter at Daryl Slater. And, Daryl, it's been an interesting, 3 games in 11 days. Very interesting, but it just, the drama keeps turning up with the New York Jets. Now we hear the name Le'Veon Bell. What is going on with this exactly?
Yeah, this is just, I think, a case of the Jets doing their due diligence and checking with the Steelers on Le'Veon Bell. Obviously, the Steelers have put it out there that they'd be willing to trade Bell, and he's a tremendous talent. Has been a significant headache at times in Pittsburgh, but has performed fairly well. He's got a lot of mileage on his body. He turns 27 next off season in February. So I think when you look at this, I don't think it makes much sense for the Jets to trade for him. I think a win-now team in 2018 would make more sense for him in terms of a trade destination, and that's because of the parameters of his contract. He doesn't really have a contract right now, but because of the parameters of the franchise tag, he can't sign a long-term deal until after the season. So he's going to hit free agency almost certainly. So there's no assurances that if you trade for him right now, give up a draft pick, that you'll even be able to sign him long term. And for a team like the Jets, it doesn't really make much sense. They're building for the future, so they might as well wait it out until next March and try to get this guy in free agency if they want to do that.
And so people don't understand, because I've heard this a lot. A lot of people put him in the Khalil Mack category with what the Bears did with whatever team ends up with him, that somehow they're going to be able to sign him. But this is not a Khalil Mack situation.
No, it's different. So Khalil Mack in 2018 was going to be in the 5th-year option of his rookie contract. So at that point, any team that traded for him, they could immediately sign him to a long-term deal. The thing with Le'Veon Bell is he was franchise tagged this past offseason. He has yet to sign the franchise tag. And what the franchise tag really is it's a 1-year contract for a big chunk of money for this year. There's also he could have signed that franchise tag earlier than mid-July, like say in May or June. And if he had signed it, then he would have had until the middle of July to work out a long-term contract with the Steelers. Or they could have traded him and he could have worked out a long-term contract with somebody else. But there's a hard and fast deadline that happened already long ago in the middle of July. And after that deadline passed, Le'Veon Bell, he didn't sign the franchise tag. But even if he had, after that deadline passed, if there was no long-term contract agreement between Le'Veon Bell and the Steelers, or if he had hypothetically been traded, if there had been no contract agreement between him and his new team, then he has to play this season on that 1-year contract that I mentioned. He has to. So he cannot sign a long-term contract until the new league year begins next March. So in effect, he can become a free agent. Why would? Of course, he'd want to do that. He wants to test the open market when he can, and who can blame him? So that's why the situations are completely different, not at all the same. And that's why, as I said, there is no way that Le'Veon Bell could not be a rental player for this season, 1 year.
Daryl Slater joining us, NJ.com, covers the New York Jets. And it wouldn't. And I guess the reason that this story has gained some legs is because we don't know what the situation, or at least the long-term situation with Todd Bowles is. He's kind of in a must-win now situation. But Mike Maccagnan is really the one that's going to be calling the shots as far as whether they go all in or they don't go all in. But is it to the point right now with the New York Jets that they're willing to do whatever they can do to win now and possibly make the playoffs?
No, I think that would be, in this case, that would be foolish because, look, I think if you were able to get Le'Veon Bell this year, if it was a Khalil Mack situation and he would be worth trading a draft pick for. The Steelers are in a situation where, presuming Le'Veon Bell is not back with them, which there's no way he's going back to the Steelers, but say he leaves in free agency after this year, they're in line to get a compensatory pick in 2020. That would probably be a third-round pick. So they're looking for more than that in a trade. They're probably looking for either a second-round pick or 2/3 or a third and a fourth. So if the Jets were able, Jets don't even have a second-round pick next year because of the Sam Darnold trade. But if the Jets were willing to trade a pick like say they're willing to give up both of their third-round picks next year, and they have two, it would make sense if they could have signed him long-term. Like there is no point in the Jets giving up multiple draft picks in a year when they're not a win-now team. I know we talk about Todd Bowles needing to win. Well, he can go win 7 or 8 games, maybe even 6 games at this point, and potentially be retained because Christopher Johnson, who's the acting owner of the team, has said there's no playoff mandate for Todd Bowles. So it's not like he has to make the playoffs and he has to win 10 games and they have to go all in. Of course, they're trying to win every week, but the Jets are a team that is rebuilding, and they're in a year into this rebuilding process, so it's not like they're just starting, but it doesn't make sense for them to go completely all in with a player like Le'Veon Bell in a trade.
Darryl Slater joining us, NJ.com, covers the New York Jets. How impressed are you? You mentioned you have a new acting president, CEO there, Christopher Johnson. How impressed are you that the hands-off approach he has taken thus far, really allowing Mike Maccagnan and the football people to make the decisions about the direction that the New York Jets are heading right now?
Yeah, no, I think that's the right approach. I mean, he mentioned when we talked to him before the season that he doesn't consider himself a Jerry Jones type. And, of course, people forget Jerry Jones had a background in football and has been doing it a long time. So, yes, he's made some mistakes, but he certainly has some credentials. Christopher Johnson doesn't have any credentials in terms of football. It's not like he ever played football. He's a rich man who happens to, his brother happened to have bought the team. But I think not to diminish the job that he's done, as the acting owner so far. I think from a player's perspective, they feel like he's done a really nice job of listening to them on a lot of these issues in terms of, especially the national anthem and social and racial justice issues and reform that some of these players are trying to get. But I think Christopher Johnson is smart enough to know his limitations, and he's smart enough to know that the organization hired football people like Mike Maccagnan to scout players and do those sort of things. So whether that turns out to be the right move, the hiring of Maccagnan in the long run, we'll see. But I think Christopher Johnson understands that the better option for the organization is to let Maccagnan make those decisions, not him, Christopher Johnson.
Yeah, now would make and sometimes you just don't get that. Your ego's getting away, and all of a sudden people start stepping all over people's shoes that they shouldn't be, and we've seen that throughout the history of the New York Jets organization. So it is a little refreshing that the football people are making football decisions here, and the owners are just kind of staying out of the way. But, I mean, moving forward here, it was a rough, 3 games, 11 days. You got a lot of fans, and you know this, Darryl, that have been complaining about taking the damn training wheels off. Baker Mayfield, they let him throw the ball over the field, and we're getting all sorts of blowback here, feeling that they won't let him throw any more than a bunch of screen passes here. What is the thought going around this team with Sam Darnold and the offense moving forward?
Yeah, I think at some point the Jets need to get a little bit more dynamic in terms of what they're doing on offense, whether it's the play calling or whether it's Darnold seeing some opportunities that are open downfield, because there have certainly been some reads that he's missed. So I think at some point, yes, of course, the West Coast offense is predicated on a lot of these short timing throws, but at some point you need to take some shots. And I think that's the next step for Sam Darnold, is to recognize those opportunities, and for Jeremy Bates to put Sam Darnold in those sort of positions where he can do that. Now, the other thing is, the Jets' offensive line is suspect at best. I mean, this is not, and they're playing a team in Jacksonville this week that has a fantastic defensive front. So do you really, the other side of it is, people want Sam Darnold to throw the ball deep, but do you really want him sitting back there for 2, 3, 4, 5 seconds, if he even gets that much time, and dropping back and trying to throw the ball down the field in the time that requires, and you're giving the Jaguars front all that much more time to get there. So I don't know if, having Sam, yes, obviously you want to have deep passes, connect, but you have to know your limitations. And the Jets have a suspect offensive line going up against one of the NFL's best defensive fronts this week in Jacksonville on the road. And, maybe this week is not the best week to take the training wheels off because, the bike might break. I think that, the Jaguars might, stomp on the bike and break it. But, so you need to balance your limitations, and the Jets have limitations on their offensive line, as a lot of teams do compared to what the Jaguars bring at their front. So the Jets are going to need to run the ball really well this week and give Sam Darnold third and short opportunities where the Jaguars pass rushers can't just sit there, pin their ears back, and go after them.
How impressed have you been, Darryl, with the defense and the defense played exceptionally well in that Browns game right up until Baker Mayfield was a different quarterback and it kind of changed the complexion of that game. But that defense kept them in that game, and I have a feeling this defense is going to keep this team in a lot of games this year, hoping that maybe Sam Darnold and the offense can figure it out. But have they been better than what was originally expected, or are they just about what we thought we'd have?
Yeah, I think, there's been moments where, they were fantastic in week 1, obviously. And you mentioned the second half being an issue against Baker Mayfield. They gave up 211 yards in the second half. Obviously, the Jets' offense was a bigger problem in Cleveland. But the things they've done well is in the opener, they did force some turnovers, finally get some takeaways, and they had an interception return for a touchdown by Darren Lee, and Jamal Adams finally got his first interception. But there have also been untimely penalties, especially Morris Claiborne had 2 very costly defensive holding penalties the last 2 weeks, which led to points for the opposition. And the Jets don't have a large enough margin for error to have those sort of dumb penalties, untimely penalties. So it's been a mixed bag for their defense so far, I think.
Yeah, and it's going to be a very interesting game. Of course, the Jacksonville Jaguars is next on the list there. He is Darryl Slater, NJ.com. Some great stuff covering the New York Jets. I highly encourage you, if you are a Jets fan, if you want to see what's going on with the team, there is no better place to do it than NJ.com. Check out Darryl Slater. Make sure you follow him. It's on the screen there, at Darryl Slater. And Darryl, I appreciate you taking the time, man. This is a lot of fun. I hope we can do this again, too, moving forward.
Yeah, sure. Anytime.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, Darryl Slater, NJ.com, NewJersey.com. Make sure you check it out. Some great stuff there about the New York Jets. As a side note, too, I didn't want to bring it up when we were talking to him, but it does look like there was a report out today that Todd Bowles might be taking over some of the play calling duties for the defense. Not exactly happy with what's been going on there. Maybe they're not blitzing enough, but keep an eye on that moving forward. Usually coaches, when they start to take over the duties of the coordinators, there is some rumblings going on, and I know people have been saying now for the last couple of years that Todd Bowles is on the hot seat. I think it's ridiculous. I don't think he deserves to be on the hot seat just yet, not with a rookie quarterback. I will go back to what that team did last year, the fact that they were able to win the games they did, and having been in every game, and those guys not quitting on Todd Bowles. I think he's a better coach than he's given credit for. They do need to figure out some sort of game plan with Jeremy Bates and Sam Darnold on the direction they're going. They are going to have to take the training wheels off, but like Darryl just said there, you take the training wheels off on a team like the Jacksonville Jaguars, who have one of the most ferocious front sevens there is, you might actually get a broken bike back when they're done with him. So that is also something to consider. But it'll be an interesting game. Jacksonville's not exactly lighting anybody up. They're coming off of scoring, 6 points against the Tennessee Titans. So they're coming off a loss. They great defense, not necessarily the kind of offense that would strike a fear in any team, much less the New York Jets. So it's going to be it's an important win for both of these teams, including the Jacksonville Jaguars. It's an important win for the Jets, too. We'll see what happens there. Speaking of coordinators, you got a lot of Dallas Cowboy fans that are up in arms right now about the offense and Scott Linehan and whether or not Jason Garrett should be taking over the play calling duties. As a matter of fact, Jason Garrett today said that I think it would be false for me to say this is about play calling. This is about everything we're doing offensively. We have to do better. We have to coach better. We have to play better. That is all cliche for I'm not throwing him under the bus just yet, but if the offense doesn't improve, then his ass is out, and then I'm going to be forced to have to take over the play calling duties. It's not even close. I mean, the Dallas Cowboys, let me show you this stat about Dak Prescott, and this will tell you everything you need to know about the Dallas Cowboys offense this year. All right? That is Dak Prescott over his last 13 games. Look at those numbers right there. Then take a look at Brock Osweiler over his last 13 games. You guys see any similarities there? Any? Nothing? Anybody? Similarities? Anyone? Yeah, that's right. Dak Prescott, just about 2,400 passing yards, 10 TDs, 11 INTs. Many would think, given that line, you're talking about Brock Osweiler. No, I'm not. See, I'm talking Brock Osweiler, also just about 2,400 passing yards, 11 TDs, and 12 INTs. So actually, Brock Osweiler had one more touchdown pass than Dak Prescott. It's embarrassing what's going on with the Dallas Cowboys. To have that offensive line and to have Ezekiel Elliott and not being able to move the ball is just, it's embarrassing. As a matter of fact, the Cowboys entered the game Sunday against the Seahawks. They were ranked 30th in the league in total offense, averaging just about 265 yards per game. That is, they only got a 303 against the Seahawks, so it wasn't like they vastly improved there, but it's not getting any better. Between Dak Prescott and Ezekiel Elliott, they've got no consistent production, and it's kind of, it's a head-scratcher for Cowboy fans. I know that. Jeffrey, look at Big Dog Jeffrey Williams in here. It is a bit of a head-scratcher for Cowboy fans as to why it is. Why are we even talking about or acting as if play calling isn't an issue or the offensive coordinator, Scott Linehan, is not an issue? The Cowboys have been terrible, and Prescott was 19-34 for $168. And by the way, that's the 9th time in 11 games that he has failed to pass 200 yards. So it's amazing to me. We talked about the offensive line. It's amazing to me. Could this really be all because of Jason Witten and because of Des Bryant and not having those weapons? I mean, is throwing to Allen Robinson or Allen Hurns rather just not the same thing? Have the impact of those guys been so much that Dak Prescott, and again, look at these numbers. They don't lie, guys. If you closed your eyes, it's the same damn quarterback. And Dak Prescott should be better than Brock Osweiler, okay? On so many levels, he should be better than Brock Osweiler. There is no reason in the world, okay, for those numbers to be even remotely the same, given the fact that, Dak Prescott has the offensive line that was sent down from the heavens, and he also has Ezekiel Elliott. And the numbers don't lie. I mean, you can massage and you can make excuses all you want. The numbers don't lie. The Dallas Cowboys offensively are in trouble. And I can't put my finger on it. I don't think it has so much to do with, I think it has a lot to do with the weapons. I think Dak Prescott is regressing. And Ezekiel Elliott, for as good a shape as he was in the offseason, coming into camp, ready to prove himself, keep staying away from all the off-field drama. There are some issues on that offensive line and certainly on that offense. And I think a lot of it has to do with there's nobody on the outside that scares defenses. Like, who are you going to strike? I mean, Dez was still working on Dez's reputation. Defenses were going to respect Dez. Defenses were certainly going to respect Jason Witten way more than they respect him in the booth calling Monday Night Football games, but that's a whole different story. It's embarrassing. I mean, it really is embarrassing. Jason Witten, a 40-year-old tight end, and Dez Bryant, a 43-year-old wide receiver. You're telling me that's the reason why the Cowboys took 5 steps back offensively? Listen, the defense, I think, is playing pretty damn well given, the pieces that they have. I think the Cowboys defense has shown up, but, man, that offense and Dak Prescott, you keep waiting for something to change, and nothing is changing. So that's a bit of a problem there. Jeffrey Baylor Williams says, audio is perfect, brother. You got my message. I did not, but I will find it right afterwards. I promise there. Jeremy Dorsett joins in. Jeremy's got Cowboys are going to finish dead last in the NFC East this year. Well, let me ask you guys a question because now that we've got you in there, who wins the NFC East? Is Philadelphia's defense, is Philadelphia still the team to beat in the NFC East? I mean, champions, they're not the same team as they were last year. They're really banged up offensively. No Jay Ajayi. They got Clement running in the backfield. They're a little bit hurt. Alshon Jeffrey, it's going to take him a couple of weeks to get back in. The team that impresses me is the Washington Redskins. That guy, Alex Smith, it looks like Alex Smith has found a coach that doesn't mind allowing him to throw down the field. Because what the Redskins doing, they've got every facet of the game working right now. They've got weapons on the outside. They've got one of the best tight ends in the game. They got a huge offensive line that is protecting Alex Smith. And the defense has come to play. The Washington Redskins are no joke. And anybody that thinks they should be looked past, you're not paying attention. I mean, I watched them play. I watched them dismantle Green Bay. They lost a tough one against the Indianapolis Colts because they made just too many mistakes. But I'm telling you right now, the Washington Redskins are for real this year, and they absolutely – people need to be paying attention to him. And I get the Eagles. I'm with you, Jeremy. I mean, listen, I get the Eagles that they deserve to be – number one. They deserve to be getting the credit that they are getting. That defense is going to make up for a lot of insecurities that they have on the offensive side of the ball. That defense is that good. They've got a head coach that doesn't mind going for it. The players love to play with him. They've got their man back, Carson Wentz. It's going to take him a little while to get back into rhythm, I think. The second half of the Colts game told you everything you need to know about a quarterback that hasn't played in a year, nursing a completely rebuilt knee. It's going to take a little time with Carson Wentz. It's still an improvement over Nick Foles and what he was doing, but that defense has shown up. And the Giants, I think what we witnessed with the Giants, it's the first time that they've scored 27 points in 4 years. Some ridiculous number along those lines. The Giants have some weapons. That Saquon Barkley is an animal, man. That dude is an animal. His cutback ability, his stopping on a dime and changing directions, haven't seen it since Barry Sanders, man. And this guy is a beast to take down. Plus, he can catch the ball out of the backfield. I think once they figure out how to be able to use him, and if they can use the passing game, the short passing game with Saquon Barkley, then they will also mask a lot of the deficiencies that they have on the offensive line with guys like Flowers, who didn't play. Eli Manning he'll be able to take some people off the line because you've got to be able to respect those little dump passes, those little screens that act as a running game. Saquon Barkley is no joke, people. No joke. Could very well be Rookie of the Year, too, but watching that guy play, watching him cut, the size, the speed, the agility, it looked like sometimes I was watching Barry Sanders all over again with that the Giants team. And I hope it's not for his sake because we all know the great teams that Barry Sanders played on. Yeah, okay. Welcome in here, guys. If you are just joining us, that above me is the Miami Acura hotline, 855-WTF-2255. That's how you reach us here on the show. I do have some Tiger Woods Ryder Cup odds I want to get to. Now that Tiger Woods has actually won a tournament, the overreaction in Vegas is out of control. We'll give you the latest from wagertalk.com. Also want to welcome them into the Joe Raineri Show family, the good friends over at wagertalk.com. If you guys have not been there yet, if you are new to sports betting, hell, if you've been betting on sports your entire life, there is no better source for information and to be able to have access to some of the best there is in Las Vegas. The place you got to go is wagertalk.com. Make sure you drop by there at least once a day. The information is priceless. It's all about information, and what you do with it is up to you. But the fact is, all in one place and one website, you can have the guys that break the games down for you. They have all the trends and all the knowledge that you need to make a reasonable decision on who to bet and how to bet. There's only one place to go, guys, and that is wagertalk.com. And I want to thank them also very much for making the Joe Raineri Show a part of the family. Awesome stuff there. We'll also be interviewing each and every week one of the superstar handicappers from wagertalk.com. We had Kelly in Vegas last week, Kelly Stewart. We'll have, I believe Ralph is going to join us too. Ralph the Mouse going to be joining us this week on Thursday to be able to give you the lay of the land heading into the weekend. So truly your one source shopping for everything when it comes to playing and wagering on the NFL and college football. That is what we've got at wagertalk.com. This also came over. I thought this was interesting. Don't know if you guys know who Judy Battista is, but Judy Battista works for the NFL Network, and she released this morning talking about how a number of, I guess, the competition committee members are becoming very uncomfortable with the roughing the passer calls, especially Clay Matthews and what he's had to go through. I think he's had one every game now throughout the year, not to mention what the hell happened in the preseason game. They're not happy with what's going on, and the committee call next week they are expected to see if they might be able to change something this year, because last night's game, can we all be honest, last night was on a national spotlight game, Monday night, the only game on, and you've got that many yellow flags being thrown for roughing the passer on plays that are just, it's impossible. We watched the poor guy, the defensive lineman Hayes on the Miami Dolphins this week blow out a knee. 320-pound dude blowing out a knee because he's trying to contort himself in a way that when he tackles the quarterback, that his forward momentum of 320 pounds doesn't continue to fall down on top of the quarterback to avoid a 15-yard penalty. And William Hayes ended up blowing his knee out, and now they are down a defensive lineman on the Miami Dolphins. Why? Because of what you witnessed last night and because of these stupid-ass roughing the passer calls. The judgment is all over the place. You've got sets of referees that have no problem throwing a flag every 30 seconds in a game. If you even look wrong at the quarterback, they're throwing flags. There's no rhyme or reason. Once again, it was bad enough that we can't figure out what a catch is, but now we're dealing with nobody knows how to hit the passer. You've got these 300-pound guys. You've got these giant athletes, these lightning-quick athletes who work so hard on the defense to try to get to the quarterback, and then once they get to him, they don't know what to do with him because they're worried about getting flagged. And it's a rough watch from the fan standpoint. Let's be reasonable. How many of you are watching that game last night and going, not even knowing what's happened, but just the simple fact that there was a flag thrown? Usually we're going, oh, it's holding. No, now it's, oh, he ran into the quarterback. Oh, look at that. He hit the quarterback's leg. Oh, he touched him on the shoulder. That's a problem. And the NFL and the competition committee, they better figure it out. The competition committee better figure out what's going on, because a couple of more weeks of this, and if they start costing games, which you know it's going to end up costing a team a game at one point, yeah, that's there's going to be some uproar, certainly from the fans, but I know the owners can't be happy with this. I get what you're trying to do. You don't want Aaron Rodgers knocked out in week 2. You don't want Andrew Luck knocked out in week 5. I get it. I know why you're doing it. But there seems that it's been taken to the extreme where almost any contact with a quarterback at this point is considered a roughing the passer, and that sucks. That really, really sucks. So I hope they're able to figure that out. Also, our question today, for those of you just joining us at WTF Sports TV, we broadcast live every weekday afternoon, 4 p.m. here across all the platforms, Twitter, Periscope, Facebook, and YouTube. And we ask that you please share the love and like the page and support us here and subscribe. You'll get notified when we go live. All sorts of fun stuff happening here. And this is even better. We've got our own number up there, 855-WTF-2255. That is how you can join the show. Our question of the day today is, if you are the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, you're the coaching staff, who do you start this week or your next game? Who do you start? Do you go with Jameis Winston or do you keep riding Ryan Fitzpatrick? That's the answer I want to know from you guys. For you crazy bastards in social media hanging out in the chat rooms, welcome in. For those of you that I haven't had a chance to say hello to yet, Kimbo, welcome in. Nice to see you. Jeff, always a pleasure to see you, my friend. Michael, you crazy bastard stealing corporate time. It's always a pleasure to see you too as well. That's the question on the table for you here today, guys. What do? Do you go with Ryan Fitzpatrick or do you go with Jameis Winston? That's the question we've got for you today. 855-WTF-2255. And coming up, we'll talk a little NFL, college football, and Tiger Woods. What do those three things have in common? Some very interesting line movements in Las Vegas. Couple of college games, including locally here in the 305. We've got ourselves some Miami Hurricanes ACC football coming up Thursday night against the North Carolina Tar Heels. And there's an even bigger game, I think, on the slate that offers tremendous value, and it has to do with Chip Kelly. And I'll tell you where I'm going to be putting my money, and I'll give you the latest from wagertalk.com. We will do that coming up next. But first, we've got supporters that support us, and we're hoping that you'll support them. A little word from our sponsors here. And again, jot these numbers down. You never know when you may need you got back problems. You don't know when you may need to see a specialist. And if you are stuck in a timeshare or if you're looking to travel, these are all useful numbers for you. So just take note of them. We'll be back in 2.5 minutes. We'll give you those Las Vegas odds and we'll help you make some money this week, which is what we do. And we'll do it coming up next.
Where do you want to go on a vacation or honeymoon? The Caribbean, Europe, Hawaii, Mexico? How about Disney or a cruise? At Superior Cruise and Travel, we've got you covered. We'll assign you your own travel concierge. They'll help you design a custom vacation plan that you can't find online. And the service is completely free. You can't compare the value of this to any other online travel company. We can help you plan a custom vacation anywhere in the world. We even offer payment plans with no credit card required. Now you pay off your vacation on your time schedule. Call now and mention the promo code RADIO and save up to $500. Book your custom trip. Call Superior Cruise and Travel now and talk to one of the highest rated travel agencies in the country with a 5-star A+ online rating.
800-901-5536. 800-901-5536. 800-901-5536. That's 800-901-5536.
Were you scammed into signing a timeshare contract? And did you miss the part that said you have to pay for your great idea? Not only for the rest of your life, but when you're not here anymore, you get to pass this turkey onto your family for them to pay for the rest of their lives. Thanks, Dad. Don't burden your family down the road and don't be stuck with expensive timeshare payments forever. Get out of your bad idea timeshare contract guaranteed or pay nothing. Call Resort Release today and learn for free how their timeshare Timeshare Exit Team can help you legally exit your timeshare contract. They've helped thousands of people, and they're A-plus rated with a BBB. So if you feel scammed, get mad and get out of your expensive timeshare contract right now, guaranteed. Call NOW.
800-898-0816. 800-898-0816. 800-898-0816. That's 800-898-0816.
Back pain doesn't take vacations. It never celebrates holidays. It's on the job 24/7 to keep your life exactly where it is, in limbo. But it doesn't have to be that way, because Laser Spine Institute can help you take back your life from chronic neck and back pain. With a less than 1-inch incision, our minimally invasive procedures have provided relief to over 60,000 patients with a 97% patient satisfaction rate. So get ready to stand tall and live the life you've imagined for yourself without pain. Are you or a loved one suffering from a bulging disc, herniated disc, spinal stenosis, pinched nerve, or degenerative disc disease? Call our spine care consultants now for a no-cost MRI review and to learn more. It's time to say goodbye to chronic neck and back pain. What have you got to lose? Laser Spine Institute, the leader in minimally invasive spine surgery.
Call 855-720-BACK. 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 That's 855-720-BACK.
Don't be such a pussy. Subscribe to the Say It With Me podcast with Joe Raineri on iTunes today.
Welcome back in, and a happy Tuesday to you. Tuesday is a good day to be able to stretch out, kind of take everything in that we witnessed from over the weekend, and then start to prepare on what we're going to play and what our bets are going to be moving forward. We've got some college football Thursday night, a couple of games before we get to Saturday, and it includes the Miami Hurricanes, the U taking on North Carolina, getting ready to start the ACC matchups. So we'll talk a little bit about that, but welcome in if you're just joining us. Want to thank you very much for making us a part of your day. At WTF Sports TV is how you reach us. All the platforms, Twitter, Periscope, Facebook, YouTube. That is where you can get us each and every day, 4 o'clock here. Thank you very much for making us a part of your day. Also want to thank our good friends over at wagertalk.com. That's right, wagertalk.com. It is the single greatest resource for anything to do with sports handicapping that you will get. That is wagertalk.com. Make sure that you visit. Any questions, you want to know what the trends are, you can hang out with us. And then, of course, make sure that you head over to wagertalk.com. Check out what their handicappers have to say, including Ralph Michaels, who'll be joining us this Thursday on the show to kind of give you his thoughts and ideas about some of the games and some of the spreads that you'll be looking at this week. And one of the games, actually a few of the games, I don't know if you guys have saw this, but it turns out that week 4 right now in the NFL has the lowest and the highest NFL over-unders of the year thus far. And we know that whole Kansas City, San Francisco over at 56, coming up to 56, was actually the highest of the year, and we're kind of approaching that again. Get a load of this, 38.5. That's what we're looking at. New York Jets, Jacksonville Jaguars, and the Seattle Seahawks and the Arizona Cardinals are both on pace. Both of those games are on pace for the lowest over-unders of the season. Now, if you took the under in the Tennessee-Jacksonville game, well, you cashed in over the weekend, didn't you? You're looking at, I think that number was 39.5 or 40, the over-under, and they scored like 12 points. So the under was good there. You've got 2 games like that on the slate this week with the Jets and Jags and the Seahawks and the Cardinals. Keep in mind, Kansas City-Denver, the Monday night matchup, that's 56. Currently, that's bouncing back and forth between 55 and 56. 56 would be the highest, once again, of the year through 4 weeks thus far. So keep that in mind. If you're a fan of high-scoring games, or if you're a fan of defensive matchups, then week 4 has got a little something for everybody who likes those style games. I can tell you this. The high-scoring games from a daily fantasy standpoint, if you, a couple of weeks ago, if you, in the Pittsburgh game against Kansas City, if you picked all of the Kansas City Chiefs offensive players, there is a good chance that you would have won your, not only the week, but you would have won whatever FanDuel or DraftKings lineups that you had in there. They are machines. Same thing this past week with San Francisco and Kansas City. Absolute machines. So keep an eye on that game, the Kansas City Chiefs-Denver game. That's Monday night in Denver. And, of course, the two games that we're lucky if they score 20 points. 38.5 right now, Jets, Jacksonville, Seattle, Arizona. Arizona is a total mess. I'm glad to see Josh Rosen is now, it's the Josh Rosen era, because any more of watching Sam Bradford, I wanted to throw up. But we're in another one of those situations where if you throw a kid in that's not ready to go behind a terrible offensive line, which is what the Arizona Cardinals have, you do run the risk of blowing this kid up from the shoulders up, meaning from a confidence standpoint, from a ability standpoint, you may do more damage between the ears than you help, but there's absolutely no looking back. You look at this team, to have David Johnson, Larry Fitzgerald, to have some of the pieces that they have, Ricky Seals-Jones in the tight end position, and be that terrible is mind-blowing to me, but they are bad. Listen, Seattle is not going to score a whole bunch of points, but they do have Russell Wilson, and as long as they have Russell Wilson, it gives them a good chance at winning games. But they got to figure out what's going on with that defense, and we know with the Jets, you got to take the training wheels off at some point. With Sam Darnold, you can't just out-screen your opponents. You got to be able to let them throw the ball down the field. So right now, what do we got? Through 3 weeks, 3 NFL games have closed with totals of 39. And those all represented the lowest of the season. And it looks like those 2 games are going to go below 39. We'll see where the action comes in. But let me see. According, what do we have here? The numbers are 42, 425, and 454. 48% in games that close with over-unders below 40 cover. All right? So keep that in mind. It doesn't necessarily pay. Only 48% of the times will games actually cover the under when they are below 40. So there's a good chance you might be getting over, but that's kind of split right down the middle. And the Chiefs are they're scoring 118 points in 3 games. That is nuts. I'm sorry. They have scored over 118 points over what the spreads were in each and one of those games. That's nuts. That is absolutely nuts. So it'll be fun to see how this goes this weekend. Also, Tiger Woods has got some numbers associated with him now. Ryder Cup betting odds, some numbers that we haven't seen in a very long time with Tiger Woods. His game is in a spot that we haven't seen in, at least 5 years, I think, right? 5 years. He has shown that he can win again now on the PGA Tour, which is great. He's got that fire back in him, and it looks like he's ready to compete with the best players in the world, which is what's going to be happening here at the Ryder Cup. And some of the odds that we're getting right now, odds point total 2.5. Okay, Ryder Cup appearances, he's got 7. Ryder Cup match play history, he's 4-1-2, so it's 80%. Ryder Cup foursome history doesn't do very well in that lineup. 4-8-1, 33%, and his Ryder Cup fall ball history is 38% too at 5-8. So it'll be interesting to see. Is he going to take the momentum into the Ryder Cup? And is he going to be somebody that the team is going to lean upon down the stretch? It'll be interesting to see what happens with the pairings and what they're going to do, what they're going to be doing with Tiger. But his point total odds is 2.5 right now. So, and points, of course, for those of you guys that don't know, in Ryder Cup, every time you win a match, you either get a half a point if you have it or a full point if you win. So right now, what do you got? A 2.5 over-under point total for Tiger Woods in the Ryder Cup. Also, he's plus 1,400 to be the highest scoring golfer, and the highest scoring team member plus 800. So there is some money to be made on Tiger Woods heading into the Ryder Cup. It just depends on how much of a homer are you going to be when it comes to betting on Tiger Woods. But it's coming. Tiger Woods Ryder Cup numbers 2.5. I think he's going to get way more than 2.5. I think he's going to be out there a lot. I think he's got that confidence. And I think he's in a different position now than he was a couple of years ago when the last time that he was in a Ryder Cup. And as a matter of fact, Tiger Woods had said that the key to his winning that first tournament in 5 years, he said it was a combination of three things: constant practice, a positive attitude, and the fact that he was having sex with more than one white woman at a time, which I think also went. He ate at, what was it? He ate at Perkins. Yes, he loves his Perkins waitresses. So he's eating back at Perkins, which means that Tiger Woods is ready to dominate the Ryder Cup. Speaking of dominating, let me give you guys what's going to happen here on Thursday night, rather. 2 nights from now, we got an ACC matchup finally. North Carolina coming to Miami to take on the Hurricanes, the number 16 Hurricanes. And it looks like the Tar Heels are starting to get some of those suspended players back now. They ended up taking care of business at home against Pittsburgh. I told you guys that last week. I could not believe the opening line had Pittsburgh being 3.5 or a 4-point favorite over North Carolina on the road, as if Pittsburgh is some sort of team that has shown they can win on the road. North Carolina is getting their peeps back. They're getting their starting quarterback back. And North Carolina actually leads the all-time series 11-10 all-time. And they've met every year since 2004. So the Canes ended their 2-game streak, a 24-19 road win last year when UM was ranked number 8, and the Tar Heels were 1-7 and were 20-point underdogs at that time. And the Tar Heels are 4-1 against the spread in the last 5 meetings. What do we got the spread at in this game? The underdog has covered 10 of the past 14 in this series. Miami is the over-under is 17 right now. I do think that Miami is going to win this game, but having more than 17 points, I don't know. Plus, Malik Rozier will not be the quarterback. At least we're being told that that's not going to happen, but we'll see who takes the bulk of the snaps during practice this week. We'll keep you posted on that. But at a 17-point Miami Hurricanes spread, and the under has covered 10 of the past 14 in the series, Miami is definitely going to win this game. But will they win it by more than 17? Keep this in mind, too. Other trends that you should know about: Miami 1-6 against the spread in the past 7 versus the ACC. The Hurricanes are 2-6 against the spread in their last 8 overall. And North Carolina is 4-0 against the spread in the past 4 ACC games. So those are some trends that you should be aware of before you make a decision to lay 17 points as North Carolina getting ready to take on Miami. Thursday night, 8 o'clock, that game will be on ESPN. The other game that I want you to keep an eye on, college football-wise, is Friday night when UCLA and Chip Kelly are heading to Colorado to take on the Buffaloes there. Colorado's 3-0. The problem with a 3-0 team is when you look closer, the 3 teams that they have beat are combined 1-10. So it's not exactly that they're playing the best competition in the world. UCLA is getting, let me see here. UCLA is getting a whole bunch of points here. And I think the money line is probably the best right now. The money line is plus 320. So I don't mind, a 3-1 favor UCLA. I mean, Colorado hasn't beaten anybody. It's still Chip Kelly. They still have some athletes there. I think Chip Kelly, if anything else, is a guy that'll be able to look at tape and be able to go into this game and figure out how they can dissect the Colorado Buffaloes defense. So truth be told, I don't know how good or bad either of these teams are, but I know when you look for value, and that's really what you want as a sports bettor, as a sports handicapper. You're looking for value, and it's very hard to pass up a money line underdog in this spot, given what we know about UCLA and what we know about Colorado and Chip Kelly. 3-1 on a dog on a Friday night. That's got my head spinning. So I do like the money line plus 320 right now for UCLA on the road, taking on the undefeated Colorado Buffaloes. I do think they're going to be able to figure it out. That being Chip Kelly and the UCLA. The Bruins are going to be able to figure it out, and that's a pretty damn good spot to make some money in right there. And by the way, for all the latest information when it comes to trends and what's going on, the latest line movements, make sure you guys check out wagertalk.com. That's wagertalk.com. And make sure you join us on Thursday as Ralph Michaels, the legend himself, the legendary, most full of some of the most useless trend and data information you will ever hear, is going to join us here on the show to dissect some of those games and head us into the weekend with a chance to make some cash, because ultimately that is what it's all about. So make sure you guys head to wagertalk.com. All right, guys, that about does it. If I didn't show this to you, let me show it to you one more time. I just want to get that stiff arm going. Yeah, look at Cam Hayward's reaction here, 97. Wait for it. Wait for it. Yeah, right there. Look at it. Yeah, look at him. Look at Cam Hayward's reaction on that stiff arm. How cool was that? Best shot of the night, too. Let me see if I can pause it. Can I pause it? Oh, let me see if I can get it down. Wait. There it is. Oh, there it is. Look at 97 in the back, man. Priceless. Absolutely priceless. That was some entertaining stuff last night, I've got to tell you. Once again, guys, want to appreciate you stopping by here. And Jeremy, you guys rule. Jeffrey, thank you so much. Austin, always a pleasure seeing you. Love it when you guys stop by at WTF Sports TV. That is how you reach us here, and would absolutely love it if you guys would follow it and subscribe to it and like it, retweet it, do all the good stuff there. Some really, really cool stuff here that we've got planned moving forward, and we appreciate the support. You guys have no idea how much it means to us here. We put a lot of effort and stuff into this, so the fact that you guys get to hang out with us really does mean the world. I can tell you that right now. Also, can't thank Daryl Slater enough from NJ.com, NewJersey.com. He stopped by earlier talking about the chances of the New York Jets landing Le'Veon Bell. If you guys missed that interview, don't worry, it's here. It'll be posted up on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter for you, just to rewind and check it out. The entire show and any part of it that you missed. That's the beauty of dealing with Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. You guys can just rewind and watch it on demand, watch it when you want. But Daryl Slater, at Daryl Slater, some great stuff there on the New York Jets, their upcoming game against the Jacksonville Jaguars, and it looks like it's going to be the lowest under of the year, 38.5 points. Is so far what we're looking at there. You guys have a great day. Thank you very much. Hope you enjoyed it. We'll be back again tomorrow, 4 p.m. We do it live, but you can always catch us on the replay each and every time at WTF Sports TV. You guys rule. Thank you once again, and we will talk to you tomorrow. That's right, tomorrow, 4 p.m. Have a great day, guys.